find it just remarkable that anybody in America would say, you know, we are here with Saudi Arabia, with Iran, with Yemen, and with communist China as the countries that, and Russia as the countries that are most aggressively using the death penalty, and somehow that's a good thing. But Nadra Enzi is with us. He is a pro-death penalty anti-crime activist, a member of Project 21. If you want to see him over on Facebook, it's at facebook.com/project21news/info. Nadra, welcome to the program.
Greetings, fellow hostages. Tom, thank you for having me.
Fellow hostages. Who are we hostages of today, Nadra?
You name it.
Yeah, I don't feel like a hostage. I know George Bush tried to sell that to me, that I should be afraid, that I should get duct tape, that I should give him all the money he wanted, whether it was for banksters or for the military-industrial complex.
And the Patriot Act that made us all inmates. You and I agree on that.
Yeah, but I think this is the land of the free and the home of the brave. I
agree.
I'm just not afraid. I'm sorry. They may be there. There's no doubt in my mind, actually, given who I am and what I do for a living, that they're tapping my phone and all that other kind of stuff. And I don't like that, and I'm going to do everything I can to try and stop it. But the reality is, I am not afraid, and I think more Americans need to stand up and say that. So how is it that you think that this Saudi system of murder prevention is a good thing for the United States?
Well, it's not a Saudi system, and actually, I mean, you already know the facts of how the American.
Well, Saudi Arabia was doing it. Well, actually, Saudi Arabia didn't exist when we became a country, so I can't say they were doing it before we did. But
I do understand your concern.
Yeah, it's biblical.
In a representative republic, in a country that has set standards for humane prosecution of war, which we can debate, but at least efforts have been made toward that end. How then do we support execution as a means of either punishment or prevention, which is hotly debated, as you well know?
Well, the prevention part's no longer hotly debated. There hasn't been a study published in a peer-reviewed journal in at least 2 decades suggesting that there's a preventative effect. In fact, the states with the death penalty are also the states that have the highest murder rates.
But all of this goes back, in my reckoning at least, to individual behavior. And just like this gentleman in Arizona who has gotten a lot of press, and I use the phrase loosely, Joseph Rudolph Wood. Now, he was a domestic batterer because he chose to be, not because of alien possession or...
You're talking about the guy who was just put to death by the state, and it took 2 hours to kill him.
When he stalked the woman who left him because it was her choice not to be abused by him, when he went to a hardware store where her father was on the phone, he stood and waited for her father to get off the phone, shot and killed the father, shot and killed the woman. Now, this was in 1989. He was executed in 2014. He received far more due process and far more life than the 2 people he murdered. Now, we can argue about how the execution was administered. We can say whether or not we feel it was humane, and those are all fair assessments. But his end was far more humane than what he imposed on that woman during her career, and of course.
So let me get this straight. You're saying that for some reason, if somebody kills somebody brutally, and let's not go with this guy. Let's go with John Wayne Gacy, somebody who rapes and strangles little boys, beats them to death,
or Charles Manson.
Eats parts of them, Jeffrey Dahmer. Should we as a state be eating people? Should we be beating people into senselessness? Should we be burying them alive?
No.
And then why are you bringing up this guy's crime?
No, because the facts of the crime are why he was there. I mean, he wasn't just randomly chosen.
No, anybody who kills with premeditation.
Somebody didn't like his mustache.
Anybody who kills with premeditation in a death penalty state may be subject to the death penalty. The question is not, how horrible his crime was. The question is, are we going to be the kind of country that pays somebody to kill people for us?
Well,
one of the biggest problems that these states that have the death penalty have right now, Nadra, is
some states have chosen to, some states have chosen not to.
One of the biggest problems that they've got down in Texas, Arizona, and some of these other states is that their executioners are quitting their jobs and are going on disability because they have post-traumatic stress disorder from having killed people. They can't live with themselves. One of the highest suicide rates now is among people who have been involved in executions.
Well, that's a pretty small number of people.
It is a very small number of people, but it's the same thing with soldiers. You tell people, thou shalt not kill, here's a gun, go kill that guy. They can't live with it.
By the same token, do we disarm policemen? Do we disarm soldiers?
That's a complete straw man argument. I'm saying that had this guy, Mr. Wood, spent the rest of his life in prison, we would have spent several $1 million less, and he would have, if you want punishment and torture, being in prison is no fun at all. He would have had a far longer period of time to experience the pain of imprisonment. It would have saved us money, and we would not be paying people to kill people. I am guessing, Nadra, that you don't trust our government. I am guessing that you don't trust the IRS, and you think the post office should be privatized and all that kind of thing, right?
No, I'm an individual. So as an individual, do I trust? I don't blindly trust any particular entity or individual. I have to experience, research that individual, research that entity, right, and then arrive at a conclusion.
So, in other words, you're not answering the question.
No.
So here's my question: if you're suspicious of government, why would you want the government to have the power to kill you?
The government already has the power to kill me. The government has, as you know, governments say that they have a monopoly on violence, whether we agree with that or not. They have police departments, they have militaries.
But in the context of the death penalty.
And all that predated your my existence.
Now that we're finding that, somewhere between 5 and 15% of people who've been executed were actually innocent. We're out of time. Nadra, I'll leave you with the last one. Thank you much.
Sure.
Thanks much for being with us today. Nadra Enzi, you can see his work over at facebook.com/project21news/info. Thanks, Nadra.
Thank you.
Good talking with you. We'll be back.